Hello, and thank you for stopping by for the newest episode of the Industrial Cyber Weekly Roundup. I'm Bailey, and I'll be running you through the most recent developments in the industrial cybersecurity world. So let's go. Heightened focus on asset discovery and vulnerability enumeration has taken center stage across federal civilian executive branch agencies, pushing them to make measurable progress across their networks. The headway made by the agencies comes in response to the U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency's Binding Operational Directive 2301. Industry experts told Industrial Cyber that most FCEB agencies are well on their way to being compliant with the deadline for their IT assets, since IT asset inventory and vulnerability enumeration has been a funded goal of the CDM since 2012. But 6 months to prepare to add OT asset and vulnerability management to the CDM dashboard is a very short timeline, especially in a federal procurement cycle. They also said that the goal of the directive is to help agencies drive measurable progress toward enhancing visibility into their assets and associated vulnerabilities. Many of the agency's CDM implementations provide access to such capabilities. It has been a year since U.S. President Joe Biden signed the Cyber Incident Reporting for Critical Infrastructure Act of 2022, a move that has proven crucial for enhancing cybersecurity across the nation. While those familiar with the act might think first of its regulatory requirements, there are also critical operational requirements as well. CISA has worked hard to ensure it hears from the American people, critical infrastructure owners and operators, and other cybersecurity community members before developing proposed regulations. Following the setup of the Ransomware Vulnerability Warning Pilot Program, to warn critical infrastructure entities of exposed vulnerabilities, the U.S. CISA announced a related effort in its Pre-Ransomware Notification Initiative. With pre-ransomware notifications, organizations can receive early warnings and potentially evict threat actors before they can encrypt and hold critical data and systems for ransom. The move is already showing impact in actually reducing the harm from ransomware intrusions. The FBI issued a public service announcement warning the public of criminal hackers using business email compromise schemes to facilitate the acquisition of commodities and defraud vendors. Hackers continue to target and acquire various commercially available goods, such as construction materials, agricultural supplies, computer technology hardware, and solar energy products. Hackers have been known to impersonate the email domains of legitimate US-based companies using spoofed email domain addresses and the display names of current or former company employees to purchase goods from vendors across the country. The U.S. Senate Committee on Energy and Natural Resources held a full committee hearing to examine cyber vulnerabilities in the nation's energy infrastructure. The committee also looked into the fact that energy resources are being used as a geopolitical weapon against the nation's friends and allies, while its adversaries have increasingly begun using cyber attacks to disrupt energy security and the economy. The FDA published final guidance establishing new cybersecurity requirements for cyber devices. This includes which information a sponsor of a pre-market submission for a cyber device must provide in its submission. The document also requires healthcare stakeholders to put cybersecurity provisions in place that cover software bill of materials and vulnerability disclosure reporting. The U.S. Cyberspace Solarium Commission published a report providing additional analysis of cyber attacks against the maritime transport system, with recommendations to Congress on resourcing the subsector's cybersecurity more fully. It also highlights the need for better government-industry cybersecurity collaboration and better resourcing of government efforts to support the private sector. It also proposed 4 recommendations in the report concerning the support and protection of the U.S. Coast Guard. The European Union Agency for Cybersecurity released a cornerstone document of the agency's activities in analyzing the EU cybersecurity market. It presented an updated cybersecurity analysis framework with guidance on how EU cybersecurity market analyses can be performed. The framework also contributes to the implementation of a cybersecurity act supporting a strong EU cybersecurity market using regulatory oversight and cybersecurity certification, as well as the EU's December 2020 cybersecurity strategy for the digital decade. The World Economic Forum is convening a multi-stakeholder community to strengthen cyber resilience across the entire manufacturing ecosystem. Experts assessed that while digitalization benefited the manufacturing sector, the gains could be offset by the risks, as manufacturing is the most targeted sector by cyber attacks. The new initiative will define key guideline principles and practices for collective responsibility across the manufacturing ecosystem, built upon 5 cyber resilience pillars of developing a cybersecurity culture from the shop floor to the C-suite, adopting a risk-based approach to identify, protect, and monitor critical assets, planning an incident management process, hardening the asset and industrial control system environment, while managing ecosystem risks. MITRE launched its System of Trust framework to address supply chain security challenges, providing the foundation needed for understanding supply chain risks. The framework will be key to securing robust and resilient supply chains, partners, components, and systems that are globally manufactured. It is also aimed at sorting out the specific concerns and risks that stand in the way of organizations trusting suppliers, supplies, and service providers. Dragos' Robert Lee calls upon CISA to enforce cybersecurity requirements as the industrial cyber threat landscape shifts irreversibly. In his Senate hearing, Lee said that prioritizing OT ICS networks is required, with an emphasis on security measures that have proven effective against attackers and going beyond just adopting best practices used in other domains like business information technology. He also pointed to the pipe dream malware, which has shown that the threat landscape has irreversibly shifted this past year, resulting in heightened attention required. Trend Micro's OT security arm, TX1 Networks, published data identifying a heightened frequency of cyber attacks on key industry suppliers, especially those in the energy and critical manufacturing sectors in 2022. It also disclosed that 94% of IT security incidents have also impacted the OT environment. As IT and OT become more integrated, increased complexity of OT and lack of visibility into third-party security capabilities are becoming serious security challenges for organizations. TX1 data also found that several new ecosystem-complete ransomwares as a service have emerged and adopted a ruthless multiple extortion strategy, attacking vital departments in the critical manufacturing, energy, food and agriculture, and healthcare and public health industries. Mandiant assessed with high confidence attacks by APT-43, a moderately sophisticated cyber operator that supports the interest of the North Korean regime. Campaigns attributed to APT-43 include strategic intelligence collection aligned with Pyongyang's geopolitical interests, credential harvesting, and social engineering to support espionage activities, and financially motivated cybercrime to fund operations. The group combines moderately sophisticated technical capabilities with aggressive social engineering tactics, especially against South Korean and US-based government organizations, academics, and think tanks focused on Korean Peninsula geopolitical issues. That was the highlights and lowlights of this past week. We don't know what will happen next week, but we do know you can keep up with it over on industrialcyber.co. And if you miss it there, you can catch it here next week on the Industrial Cyber Weekly Roundup. See you there.